This episode of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.
Hi guys, this is Ruben Langdon. You're listening to A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live. Shoryuken!
It's time. Talk time. Let's go. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live. Started in the 80s with Matt Cross. Dudes in the hood might have called that soft, but I carried that cross like Jesus did. Fast forward, I teach the kids to learn how to let go, live life, and show love to all things that don't matter where y'all from. And luckily, there's a show called Talk Time. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Dax kicks the facts on all the geek news, special guests and unbiased reviews. Suburban kids, the hipster street dudes, all can learn something new. Me too. I heard words when no faith is empty. I stayed the course, though my haters tempt me. Beat the podcast, that'll make them envy. It ain't too trendy, it's A.C.M.G. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live, the Prime Show. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. I hope everybody had a great week for Philadelphia, Delaware, and Jersey. I hope you had a safe week. It has been humid and dangerously humid. The heat index was very high. It still kind of is here. We've reached 100 here in Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Delaware, and I hope that everybody is safe. I hope that everybody survived. It's been crazy, but a lot of it probably stems from a lot of things going on in this world. But I would like to believe in my own fanboy mind that it came from the West Coast because they brought the heat over here with San Diego Comic-Con 2019. There was a lot going on this year. They got the return of Marvel Studios, and boy, did they make a comeback like you wouldn't believe. So we're going to talk about all of that. In fact, there's not the whole entire segment. Every time we do these San Diego Comic-Con specials, these rundowns, we don't do cuts of segments because it's just so long. The whole entire talk topic is going to be this show. This show, a lot of times in the past, have stretched out to over about 2 hours where we're talking about everything, almost everything, or the hottest things that's going on that went on and was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. Even the years that I've attended San Diego Comic-Con myself, it was just so much to talk about, so much to do. Again, if anybody... Of course, I didn't go this year, and I don't even know if I'll ever go back. If I do a three-peat, that'll be awesome. But it's a lot to go up there. But just to be able to go there, I think no matter what your intentions is to go to San Diego Comic-Con, I think everybody, when they go there, they do, benefit from it in some form or fashion, whether it's just to be there, whether it's just to experience everything, whether it's just to cosplay, or, go to Hall H or get the best exclusives, you will, or even meet celebrities, you will find your way to really benefiting from it. And it's an awesome experience. And just to let you guys know, too, real quick, it is still hot up here in Philadelphia. So, it's the bad part is when I do these shows, I can't have the air on, whether it's air conditioning or the fan, because it makes too much noise for the audio, and with these microphones they pick up everything, so I gotta be in this studio without anything but a towel. So just imagine that. But I definitely wanted to get this out there. The heat will break by the end of the day, then that's a good thing. But I definitely wanted to get all this news out because I can't miss out on this news. It's just too damn good. We got a lot going on, and there's a hell of a lot to talk about. Before we start, and it's really not much going on in the world of A.C.M.G. other than San Diego Comic-Con. There's one thing I will talk about, sadly, that we're going to start off, but I do want to give a big thanks to the one and only Ruben Langdon, the person that you heard in the soundbite of this show. He somehow dragged me into that Area 51 thing where everybody's going to invade. Sent me an invite to this, and if you guys remember, if you heard the actual interview that I did with him, the last interview that I did, which was like the third interview that I did with Ruben, he pretty much, is into extra dimensional, environments and awareness out there. Like, he really is seeking to see if there's anything greater than what it is. So when this whole Area 51 invasion came up, the first thing I thought about, I'm like, yeah, he's going. He's definitely going. So, and lo and behold, he contacts me and sends me an invite to the infamous events page where everybody's going to invade it and saying that they can't shoot them all. So, I got your back, Ruben. Might be in the back of the line. I might be a little late getting there, but normally I'm not late for things, but like this, I got to make sure I'm absolutely prepped. So, I'll be there, though. I'm just saying, I will absolutely be there, and no doubt. So, good luck with that. But I digress. We do got some news to talk about before we get into the San Diego Comic-Con news, and it's very sad news, unfortunately. So, the tone will be changed immediately from this, and we got to talk about this. If you're a fan of anime, and I'm pretty sure you heard about this, is extremely devastating. Several people dead and multiple injured in Kyoto Animation Studios in Japan as a result of an unidentified man starting a fire. A big fire, like not just throwing a match into the building fire. Like, he did a lot to make this happen. So this is plain arsenal. And apparently the police have arrested this man who allegedly poured gasoline around the studio, according to NHK. Now, they reported, sadly, 33 people have died, at least at this time that was been reported. It is said that this is the worst mass killing in Japan in almost 2 decades. And that is saying a lot, because they normally, everybody knows that Japan has the least bit crime rate record in that country, if not the world. And it's just, it's really sad to hear this. I don't know what the intentions were. A lot of people are asking about what the intentions were with this guy. What's the connection to him and the studio? Was he like a mentally, imbalanced person of sorts? Nobody knows. No, we have no information yet. What I do know is that there has been a GoFundMe account and campaign to help the victims of the fatal deaths in that studio. Last time I checked, it was 275,000, and it's continued to grow. And they're saying it's growing by the thousands by every half hour or so. So 9 chances out of 10 at this point, it's going to be much, much bigger than this. So I can speak for a lot of people, a lot of fans, and a lot of people in general, that I want to say our hearts and our thoughts and prayers go out to the, people of those victims. And it's just horrible. It's just absolutely horrible what has happened there. Regardless of it being an anime studio or whatever like that, it's really a horrible thing. And it just so happens to be that it's, an anime studio, and it's just weird. It's just like, you don't think of this stuff like this to happen. But I can't even fathom. This is just crazy. What a world we live in these days. But like, again, our thoughts and prayers to the family and friends of all of the victims injured or unfortunately passed from this situation. So, and of course, as news develops, we'll follow up on this as well. So, let's turn it back around, because now we're going to get into the San Diego Comic-Con news. This was a big deal this year. If you guys recall, last year was good. It was good, and I was actually fearful because, it was 2018. It was a year after I went, and there was nothing. I think at the time when I went in 2017, it was the last of the Phase 3, announcements and Hall H and all that stuff. So Endgame was coming, and everything came about, and they were just going to end it. We didn't know where they were coming from. They decided not to come back. to San Diego Comic-Con in 2018 to announce what they were announcing today. And it scared people because it's like the marquee of San Diego Comic-Con is Marvel Studios. And that has been evident since last year because they weren't there. And in its place was Funimation to announce Dragon Ball Super, which did really good, but nowhere near compared to what Marvel Studios can do and have done this year. So Marvel Studios has been announced that they came back, and people were so joyful with this. And my goodness, did they deliver? Did they absolutely deliver? So let's run down what exactly happened. I will try to run this down as quickly as possible because there is a lot of news, but none, I tell you none, bigger than the announcement that Mahershala Ali is entering the Marvel Universe once again. Not as Cottonmouth. This is not the return of Cottonmouth, people. He is officially Blade. He is the new Blade. The Wesley Snipes Blade, if you don't realize what I'm talking about here. This is the new generation of Blade. He's coming, and you couldn't find a perfect replacement for Wesley Snipes than Mahershala Ali. And from a standpoint that if you guys remember, when Luke Cage came out, he was a standout character from a standpoint that, like, Cottonmouth in the comics is not really a character that people resonated from or knew about because he was just such a small bit character. In the hands of Mahershala Ali, he became the new Nino Brown. For most of us who know about Nino Brown, and we haven't seen a black actor portray a guy more merciless and sinister and swag as Nino Brown since Wesley Snipes. Mahershala Ali came in, and that character was so... People loved that character so much. They wanted to see him through the entire, series. And when they killed him off, when Alfred Woodard killed him off, or Black Mariah, when they killed him off, people were so pissed. It was like, at the middle of all of this, in the heat of all this, you kill him off. He was one of the baddest, and still to this day, he's voted like one of the baddest villains in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, and this is before he got any Oscars too, by the way. Like, he really made himself before. Moonlight, came out before, the Green Book came out, and he won for that. He actually did this, and people were like on him for this. You got to remember, he also did a lot of other movies too, really cool movies. He was the Prowler on Spider-Man Far From Home. I mean, not Far From Home. He was the Prowler on Into the Spider-Verse. He also played on Netflix series Roxanne, which is based on Roxanne Shante, which, if you're a hip-hop fan, I highly recommend you go out of your way to check out. Dude is awesome. He has a great range of different characters. I just watched Alita Battle Angel again recently because it's out on digital now. And, man, he makes his presence known. He is awesome. He is just absolutely awesome. So I can't think of anybody to play that character other than him. And if you guys got a chance, his announcement at Hall H was leaked. So you got there is video out there that showed him out there and announcing that Blade was coming out. So Kevin Feige had everybody out front and making all the announcements we're going to talk about soon. And the very last bit of news that he had, the surprising news that he had, was calling out Mahershala to come out. Mahershala had a hat he was holding. He did not show the hat. Kevin Feige said, you also have a hat of your own. You want to, show the people what hat that is. And through the big Titantron screen, if you will, and people's cameras, and they zoomed in, and he put on a hat, and people saw what it was, and it said Blade. The crowd went ape shit. And I'm telling you, the crowd went immediately ape shit. The lights went off, and then all of a sudden, the logo for Blade came out, and the crowd went absolutely wild. I mean, just insanely wild. I mean, this is like, I haven't heard a pop like this since 1996, 7, 8, 9, when Stone Cold Steve Austin was the hottest thing out there. And the minute he comes out the ring, you heard this roaring crowd. That's that type of pop that I heard out there. It was awesome. And not only that, it was awesome to hear that they were cheering for Blade. which will be officially our third black superhero in the Marvel universe. I mean, we had Black Panther, we had Luke Cage, then we had Black Panther, and or Black Panther first because he came out on Civil War, Luke Cage after, and now we got Blade. So a lot of great representation going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for both black males and females as well. It's just, I absolutely love it. And again, I mean, his range is awesome. His voice, awesome. I mean, everything he does is going to be tremendous. I can't wait to see him in full Blade form. This, in the hands of Marvel Studios, this is going to be very interesting. And the talk will come back. The talk will absolutely come back now. I don't see Wesley Snipes being off the radar of this either, because of the fact that he will be talked about, because he was, a lot of credit is going to go back to him and New Line Cinema for bringing out the original Blade, which absolutely started all of this. Like, there would be no this version of Blade or any of this stuff had not the success of Blade came out. And that talk is going to come heavy the closer that gets to. Now, what is also talked about is that this will not be a part of the fourth phase that are coming out. It will be, I think it will start the new phase after that. So, because they got a lot going on in 2020 and 2021. So probably in 2022, maybe the other phase will come out, because they also have other big movies that they're coming out with right now. That's not including Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel, Fantastic Four, which he did mention, X-Men, which he did mention, and other movies that he has not mentioned yet. So this is going to be awesome. It looks like Phase 4 is not, Marvel Studios is not slowing down by any stretch. They also announced other great movies like Thor, Love and Thunder, the follow-up to Thor Ragnarok. And I love it because it has this logo that is very reminiscent of, the He-Man 80s era. It has that look, or it actually more She-Ra than He-Man, but it is have that, feel of it in there. And apparently there is the return of Natalie Portman as Jane Foster. Now, if you guys remember in the comic books, or if you haven't read the comic books, you know that Jane Foster, who has been his love interest for quite some time, winds up becoming the new Thor. That's what is said to happen in this movie. She will become the new Thor. And Tessa Thompson will come back, as well as director Taika Waititi, probably reprising his role as a character. I forgot the character's name that he plays on there as well. But he will be returning as well on there. And this is going to be great. I think it's going to be great. I think he did a great job with Ragnarok. Ragnarok is by far the best of the bunch. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic seeing it. The female Thor, I'm really interested in this. The thing is, I think, and this came into discussion online on social media on our A.C.M.G. Facebook group. People are asking about the fate of Jane. If no spoilers, but it is what it is. If you haven't read the comic book, here's what's happening. But it's already happened a long time ago. Jane Foster ended up getting cancer. And the thing that helped her stimulate that cancer was her becoming Thor. So whenever she was Thor, she was healthy, she was unstoppable, all that. But when she went back into becoming Jane Foster, then her cancer, it became more active, and it continued to act on. Now, what people don't understand, this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is no way connected or based on the Marvel 616 or Earth 616 universe. I've said that many times. People constantly continue to make that mistake. It just reminds me of how it reminds me of how hamsters, test hamsters or mice tested in labs. When you put a piece of cheese or whatever on there and they kind of electrify the cheese, and they keep touching it and keep touching it and keep touching it until they don't touch it no more, until they learn their lesson. I feel like that's how people are on certain things and comprehending certain things. You got to keep putting it in their head until they realize that is really not what it's supposed to be. Or you're not supposed to think this way or do this way. That type of reinforcement. That's how I feel with some people are, because they keep forgetting the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not by any stretch Earth 616 in the comics. It's loosely based. They take some things from it, but not all of it. And in essence, there is a similarity. There's some similarities, but there a lot of contrast as well. In this case, remember, if that's the case, then Thor himself would have turned to his own type of, his original character, which I forgot what the name it was, but he actually, he does not. He's Thor all the time, every time. So in this case, we don't know how they're going to do this. We don't know what's going to happen. We just know that she's going to be on there, and apparently she will become the new Thor. The other thing is that talking about Mjolnir, the hammer, he sent it back. I don't think he really did in a sense, but it's not to say he can't get it again or he can't get it remade. I mean, come on. There are ways to write around it. Writers, that's what writers are for. That's their superpower. They can write whatever the hell they want, and they have to make logic of it. So I'm just looking forward to seeing what happens. I'm not going to prejudge anything, and I think that's one of the problems that we do as a culture, as a community, as a country. We prejudge way too often, and then when everything comes in, everything is up bad what it is. And at this point, why are we doubting Marvel? Why are we still doubting Marvel? Why are people so cynical whenever they see something? It's not a problem with them. It may be a problem with you. You gotta think, it's real. It just amazes me. It's like every single time something new comes out. Uh-oh. And then when it comes out, it's like, yo, that was awesome. Yeah, but you doubted the hell out of this. And what is going on in your world that has allowed you to be so cynical, so skeptical? Granted, we got things going on in the country, and things happen. Things that happen to me, but I'm still as optimistic as I could be, and I have every reason to be. For the last 11 years, we've been entertained with some of the best movies a comic book fan could ever love. And if you're a millennial, you don't understand that many of us lived long enough to suffer through bad versions of these comics before we got to Blade, and Blade again changed the way everything was in comic book movies. So I'm looking forward to that as well. With the movie actually that everybody knew was coming out, was wondering when it was coming out, but now we know it's coming out. Black Widow, starring Scarlett Johansson. Hellboy's David Harbour. He gets another opportunity at a real comic book movie this time. You guys remember he played Hellboy, the lead character. And not his fault. He did a great Hellboy. The movie just went somewhere. So he apparently will be playing Red Guardian, which is like the Russian Captain America. Florence Pugh, O.T. Fabernay, Rachel Weisz are all going to be playing it. Apparently there will be other other Black Widows in the movie as well. If you guys remember, I think it was Age of Ultron, and also in Peggy Carter, they kind of went into the whole entire Black Widow, project, which was done by, these women being trained to be assassins in the Red Room. And they're going to follow up with this right now. And Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson will be in this movie and alive, because this movie will take place between Civil War and Infinity War. So she will still be alive. This is a flashback episode, which will be interesting, because does this mean we may actually get a new Black Widow coming soon? That's going to be very interesting too. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be very interesting. It will officially be released on May 1st, 2020. So next year it is coming out. I'm looking forward to it. It's great to see that she's getting another chance. She did die and it really sucked, but now she's getting rewarded with her own movie. Well deserved too, because this has been a long time coming for her. And, just to see another female superhero in there is going to be awesome. So it'll be great to see how they utilize her in this. And this whole entire thing. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. They also announced that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is coming, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Elizabeth Olsen, a.k.a. the Scarlet Witch. Oh, that's a new one. So we knew Doctor Strange was coming out with another movie, but this is going to be a Marvel team up with Scarlet Witch, and they're talking about multiverse. You got a man who can, pretty much he's pretty much the master of, multi-dimensional and sorcery, and then you have Scarlet Witch who can manipulate reality in her own fashion. She may say no more mutants or bring on mutants, who knows? But this is going to be very interesting. Scott Derrickson will once again reprise the role as director for this movie, and well-deserved because he got that done very quickly, and for that short amount of time, he was nominated for an Oscar for for visual effects. So, the movie did actually. So, I absolutely am happy about this, and also that they have a release date. They're saying it's coming out May 7th, 2021. So, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that, and that may open up the flood between the two of Doctor Strange and Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch character. That's going to open the floodgates for all possibilities to happen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of our members of the A.C.M.G. Facebook group actually said that this may be the connection to Spider-Verse. I'm like, a part of me is like, all right, who's to say that it won't happen? The other part of me is saying, just let it go. There's going to be no connection to Sony. There's just not. It's just not. They're not willing or wanting to. The only reason why they even connected with us in the first place, or with the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the first place, is because of contractual agreements based on a scandal. That's it. They wanted to. If that scandal did not happen, I don't think we ever would have seen Homecoming or Far From Home or Civil War or any of those things involving Spider-Man. That is the absolute truth. The only reason why we got that relationship is because of the scandal, and it was literally damage control. So, in my heart of hearts, I would hope that they want to keep on making money or allowing Marvel to make money for them, but they got their own agenda, man, and to me it's not good. So we'll see. They also talked about shows that will be on Disney Plus. We all know about this, but they finally released and revealed the logo for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, starring Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, and the return of Daniel Brühl as Baron Zemo. We knew he was coming back in some form or fashion, and now he's coming back here. I would love to see him back with a full costume from the actual comics, like the full purple sock mask or whatever the hell that is he's wearing. But I doubt it. They sometimes don't go that route, but I would love to see them go that route on this one. So, or some form of fashion. Come on, give us what we want on that one. But this will be streaming exclusively on Disney Plus in the fall of 2020. So stay tuned for that. I'm actually looking forward. Now I am really getting excited for Disney Plus, but I may have to drop one of my other streaming subscriptions to, replace this one. Could be WWE, for God's sake, if they keep that route up. But nonetheless, they also announced the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We knew this was coming, a Asian superhero coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is it. But what we didn't know was that it was going to be focused on the Ten Rings, and if all you comic book fans know, and Iron Man 1 and 2 fans know, that or 3 for that matter, we've been waiting for the real Mandarin. And we're getting the real Mandarin finally from this movie. I don't know if this movie will be based on the past or whatever like that. I don't know what the premise and the timeline of this is going to be. But this is going to be based on a real Mandarin. And they're saying the Legend of the Ten Rings. So I'm wondering if this is based on the past and, this character who possibly, faced the original Mandarin at the time before it became like a militant army, if you will. But this will star Simu Liu, Aquafina. I feel like I know who that is. And Tony Leung, directed by Destin Cretton. It will be in theaters on February 12th, 2021. So we'll see some trailers hopefully down the line from there as well. But the fact that we're getting the real Mandarin this time, I am all for it. We've been waiting for it. They said he was coming. he is coming, and I couldn't be more happy about that. It really is going to answer a lot of questions for the Iron Man fans out there, especially. And another movie that we also knew that was coming out, that has been talked about, is The Eternals, and they finally revealed it with the logo and the cast, starring Angelina Jolie, who is officially in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Richard Madden, Kumail Nanjiani, Lauren Ridloff, Brian Terry Henry, the goddess herself, Selma Hayek, one of my all-time favorites. This woman is flawless to me. I just want to let you guys know. She can do no wrong. I can't say anybody who could run a poll and sing Candy Girl on Dogma. It's one of my all-time favorites. That was just icing on it. That was just a cherry on top with that one right there. But I've always been a fan of Selma Hayek. She's such a graceful, female and woman. Just stunning, just beautiful. I just absolutely love her. Leah McCoy, Don Lee, and directed by Chloe Zoe. So a lot of people aren't familiar with the Eternals, and this is like based on an old comic book, and recent comic book. Not the most popular brand, but usually when you come out with this type of brand, it's going to be interesting to see how people are going to follow up with it. They did really well doing Guardians of the Galaxy in theaters. I wish they kind of would have did the same with the Inhumans, but that was kind of a flop situation. I'm pretty sure they learned a lesson from that situation, and they'll make it up for it. Because there was some good, lot more bad with Inhumans. Probably one of the biggest fails and rare fails that they had in the Marvel Cinematic Universe connection to everything. The Eternals is set to come out November 6, 2020. I like that they have release dates for all of these. It's awesome. And it's evident that these are going to come out. Continuing off with the Disney Plus series, they got Hawkeye, which is coming out starring Jeremy Renner and introducing Kate Bishop. That will be streaming in fall 2021. Loki, starring Tom Hiddleston. Very much looking forward to how that's coming out. That will be coming out streaming in 2021 in spring. WandaVision, starring Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany returning as Vision, and Toya. Let me see if I'm pronouncing this right. Teyona Paris, coming exclusively on Disney Plus at spring of 2021 as well. So all of these films are coming out in 2021, including the first animated series for Disney Plus, and that is for Marvel and Disney Plus. That is Marvel Studios' What If, starring Jeffrey Wright as the voice of the Watcher. This is going to be awesome. Again, for those who don't know what If is a comic series that it was kind of, think of it as like the Twilight Zone for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Watcher was kind of he's a cosmic being that watches everything and records everything. But in this series, and you guys seen the Watchers on what was that? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It was Stan Lee. The Stan Lee cameo was him with the Watchers. Those are the Watchers. So the Watchers, the Watcher in this one in particular, I believe is Watu. Don't quote me on it. On the actual name of the Watcher in there, but he actually chronicles a what if. He plays the part of like Alfred Hitchcock, if you will, and talks about what if certain events happen differently. Like what if, per se, what's a good acknowledgement for this? Because we already saw what happened in Infinity Wars. Infinity Wars, like Thanos won in Infinity Wars. But what if he didn't win? And what if Spider-Man took the actual gauntlet off and he had the power? That's the kind of scenarios that they conjure up in there. Would he be able to handle that much power and that much responsibility? That's the kind of example of what they do on the Marvel What If series. It's always been a beloved series. There's some really good, memorable comic books. I highly recommend that people go out of their way to check those out. I don't even know if they still bring those out. I don't think they publish them anymore, but it'd be really cool if they did, or if they do, that's awesome. So I don't know, but we'll see. That's all the great news that came out of there. There's a lot of news to talk about. And again, at the end, Kevin Feige still said, we're not even yet to talk about Fantastic Four, so that's a definite. The X-Men is a definite. I forgot the other ones that he was mentioning, man, but it was very exciting. And I can't really stress enough how really awesome it is to have Marvel Studios back and to find out that we are just beginning with that. Now, notice that there were also no mention of new Avengers movies coming out because they decided to start a focus on what's going on at the end. And then again, they really don't have to tell us everything yet because it's not to say that an Avengers movie won't be in the plans maybe during the 5th phase or whatever like that. But it's possible. It's very possible that we'll see another one, maybe. A new Avengers team could come out as well during the time. I mean, anything can happen in this case. So we'll see what happens from there. But I'm looking forward to this new phase. It's a very exciting time. Marvel fans are very happy. People are happy all over. So DC and CW also had their panel too at Ballroom 20, which is like literally the second biggest hall in the entire. Sorry, I'm actually just wiping sweat off me. But it literally is the second hall in San Diego Comic-Con. Hall H is the big one, and that's the one that you got to camp out, wait like till 12 o'clock at night, and wait for a long time to get your Marvel bracelet to get in there. And then you wait in line to go in there later on. It's hardcore. Like I said, if I go back for a third time, that is going to be my mission. I'm going to go on the Hall H and wait it out to get in there because it's awesome. And people got a chance to go in there now, but it'll be awesome to go in there once they announce like X-Men and who's going to be a part of that, and Blade and who's going to be a part of that, and all this stuff. So it'll be really awesome to see all that coming up soon as well. So I love it. But Ballroom 20 is actually the other big hall that people get into for other really big panels as well. And DC CW Network held their panel, probably their last panel for all of the Arrowverse shows, especially for Arrow, because that's ending now in 2020 with that series. But there was a lot of news that come out of that as well. For instance, DC CW Arrowverse panel announced that Brandon Routh will be returning as the Man of Steel. But after Routh appeared on stage at Ballroom 20 with a shirt that had the Superman logo on there, but not just any Superman logo. It was the Kingdom Come Superman t-shirt on there. Now, I know very little about that comic series, but it is a very beloved series, so we're going to get to see him. And he was an older Superman, too, so we're going to see him with some, like, side gray as well in this. And I'm looking forward to this. This is pretty damn awesome. To me, and a lot of people, the Arrowverse, the what I call the DCW universe, does no wrong. Absolutely any wrong. They've just only gotten better. Greg Berlanti Productions have outdone themselves with this series. Crisis on Infinite Earth is coming. He's going to be playing that character in that role. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it's going to be epic. We're going to see the last of Stephen Amell, unfortunately. And, he's done 8 seasons, if not for his... What he did for the CW, what he did for comic book primetime movies is the same thing that Wesley Snipes did for Blade, in my opinion. I don't think that gets talked about enough because the success of his show spawned all of these other shows, and he's even said it himself. It's true. It's absolutely true, and he can boast that if you want. It's true. There will be no Flash. There will be no Legends of Tomorrow. There will be no Black Lightning. All of that because of the success of Arrow, and it started off because they did all of the things that Smallville did wrong, and they brought it to light. So, kudos to him for that, for all the years of doing that, and the fact that he's also a wrestling fan too, and a part of the elite. So that I could give right there. They also showed the concept art for the Anti-Monitor, which we've seen previously on, the last Crisis on Earth, Infinite X, and other. Not Infinite X. Actually, I think we did see him there, but we also seen him in Elseworld, which was the last crossover that they did as well. So you got to see him on there. I gotta go watch that again. That was really good. All the crossovers were so good. So we got a chance to see him there, and we also got to see a trailer for a little teaser for the Arrow 8th season, and they just reflected back on everything that happened throughout the last 7 seasons. And then they also had the Anti-Monitor, narrating, his inevitable situation, which is he's going to die pretty much soon. So we will see how that goes along from there. They also talked about Young Justice, who will also be getting a 4th season. We all knew that. This show is extremely successful. It's such a great series. I honestly, at this point, they may have taken the throne. And this is really saying a lot, because a lot of people forever have been saying that Justice League Unlimited was the greatest comic series of all time, greatest animated series of all time, even beating out X-Men the animated series. Young Justice may be taking the helm now. Young Justice is absolutely fantastic here, and I love what they've done with the series. The dialogue, the storytelling, the character development, the animation has been fantastic. I love what they're doing with this. So they deservingly so, and it's been a long time coming, and it was worth the wait. You know, one of the biggest and great reasons to own the DC Universe app for those who are fans of that. I guarantee you're getting your money's worth from there. Also, Doom Patrol Season 2 has been announced with the release of DC Universe and HBO Max. That's interesting. They're going to be in 2 different streaming networks. That's never been done before. Slightly. Not like a new series, at least, that is going to be released. You know, that's a rare thing. I wonder what went into that. But if you haven't seen the first season, it's a really, really good season. It's weird as hell, but the performances done by everybody in there, Brandon Fraser especially, are really well done. I love what they've done with this show. Timothy Dalton, too, playing as, the professor in there. It's just such a great cast in there. Just absolutely love it. They also announced that people forgot about this show, but because it just came and gone, it felt like it. Titans Season 2 will be coming out, and the announcement that Deathstroke will be making an appearance in Season 2. I actually did like the first season. It started off a little bit slow, but picked up near the end. And yeah, this is good. I think they're going to pick it up. I think it's going to be picked up majorly. Again, that's another Greg Berlanti series that he's worked on. And if you've seen what he did before with Deathstroke there, you can only imagine what he's going to do here. I'm looking forward to seeing this version of Deathstroke and seeing how this ties in with the Titans there. So this absolutely is going to be separate from the CW's universe, guaranteed, because they already had Deathstroke on there and Slade on there. So unless it's Slade's son from the CW universe, then that's one thing. But if it's like actual Slade, then yeah, this is going to just really tell you that this is based on another universe from here. So you had that. Supergirl. The new season of Supergirl is coming, and not only that, she has a very brand new suit. This suit, if you see it, and if you're a DC fan especially, or a Jim Lee fan, then you know that this suit is heavily inspired by Jim Lee's New 52 Superman costume. This one no longer has the skirt. She now has pretty much a full bodysuit, and actually it looks really good. It looks so good. It doesn't look exactly like skin tight form fitting, but it looks really well done. They got the line work kind of like Jim Lee has it too, and there's no like red underwear in the bottom. It's just all blue. So they have that going on there, and I absolutely love what they did with her. There's a picture out there that had her not looking as appealing with the suit on, and it was the quality of the picture actually that we saw out there. But later they showed more pictures out, and now they even have a more professional picture of her. That's all Photoshop and everything. That makes her look really well. It really looks much more appealing in this one too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with that, because Crisis on Infinite Earth is going to be a big deal for that show as well, and the effects in there. Not only that, we also get news that Jeremy Jordan is returning and reprising his role as Win. So I guess he's going to be coming back from the Legion of Superheroes to join the cast again. Meanwhile, Mehcad Brooks, who played James Olsen, is leaving the show in season 5. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Is he going to die or whatever? We're going to see how his farewell is going to leave. He's been on the show since day one. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes and how he says farewell to the deal. The last bit of news for that panel was Burt Ward. Yes, the original Robin will be included in Crisis on Infinite Earth. There was no information as to what he will be playing in that role, but we will see from that point. That's pretty awesome to have him on air. Might as well get him on air. Unfortunately, Adam West, which I'm sure they probably would have gotten to, is no longer with us. Burt Ward is just as legendary, respectfully. So it's great to have him on air as well, and pay homage to him. So, other news and trailers from this great event also included the release trailer for The Watchers, which is coming out on HBO. Now, we got to talk about this trailer. This trailer was awesome. Starts off with a robbery at a local pharmacy that leads to I forgot this character's name, but he looks like a KKK dressed superhero with a noose around his neck. But the color of this outfit is brown, not white. So it's not really a KKK, but it's kind of rubbing off from that. And him taking a robber out. So he's then caught on camera and for the news with another mysterious figure with a metallic mask on, watches while he eats. We then hear the voice of Oscar winner Regina King, one of my favorite all-time actresses, and also the voice of Huey and Riley from the Boondocks, which we are set to be seeing very soon on the Cartoon Network. We see her in a more modern society that celebrates superheroes and Dr. Manhattan, believe it or not, which is going to be interesting because if you guys remember from the actual movie, he kind of was used to be the villain to scare people, into peace. So this is years later. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that situation and how people are treating him now. She continues to talk to a kid who I'm not sure who this kid is, but she talks to the kid about the realities of life that they're living. The trailer then goes to a scene where the gang of vigilantes dressed in Rorschach masks declare war on the city. We also see you also see cops wearing yellow masks during the announcement. The mayor, played by Don Johnson, the legendary at this point Don Johnson. I was just talking about this with some friends of mine about how he really is. He comes out of nowhere and does some of the best roles that he could ever do and really shines a light on a movie. Like anything he does with Quentin Tarantino, whenever he comes out, this man has been around for a long time and he doesn't really make his, he really doesn't make his appearance noticed until he actually makes an appearance. And then when he does, without a shadow of a doubt, that's Don Johnson, dude. And whatever role he plays, he does phenomenal in, man. It's really weird how he's been able to stay this relevant for this long and not do as many films as, or TV shows as if you would ever see, It's incredible. He's an incredible actor. But he's playing the mayor in this series, and he's talking about how everyone thought that the heroes were gone. No, in fact, they were hibernating. We then go to a clip where the man with the metallic mask and Regina King are prepping to go into battle. They're gearing up. Regina King is wearing this really awesome looking hooded outfit and kind of looks like half like a druid and the other half like a ninja, sort of kind of. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what her name is and what the role she's playing in this. We then see the Legion. We also see Legion and designing woman actress Jean Smart now playing on this series as a FBI agent. And she goes to Regina King and approaches her and asks her, do you know the difference between a masked cop and a masked vigilante? She said, no. Regina King said, no. She said, me neither. And she's going to play a really interesting part in this show. Not only that, speaking of interesting parts, we then have Louis Gossett Jr., the legendary Louis Gossett Jr., returning on camera, talking to Regina King. And I think he's going to be a big part of her doing what she's doing. And it's going to be interesting. Dude, Louis Gossett Jr., man, if you don't know about Louis Gossett Jr., he goes way back. You talk about Don Johnson goes way back. Louis Gossett Jr., boy, I tell you, he's one of the legends out there. Then we see a clip showing all sorts of havoc going on. And at the end, we see a man walking in the trashy streets, picks up a blue mask with his blue hand, indicating that is in fact Dr. Manhattan returning to Earth. So, this is a very interesting series coming up. It looks like all hell is going to break loose. We asked our A.C.M.G. Facebook group on whether they will watch this or not, and without a doubt, 100% of our votes, there is not one vote that said that they would not watch the series. I am looking forward to this, and so is everybody else. I'm looking forward to that. Another movie that a lot of people are looking forward to, aside from other than me, is Top Gun Maverick. They showed the trailer. Tom Cruise was in San Diego Comic-Con to talk about this series, this much anticipated sequel. People have been looking for this sequel for like decades. This is amazing. So they're coming out with this. The trailer shows Tom Cruise character Maverick with his superior as they talk about why he has not yet decided to take on a new rank. He's been captain for so long, he could be admiral by now, but he's decided not to. Apparently, he's still traumatized by the events of the first movie, and the rest of it is pretty much the same as what you expected from the first movie. So it's like, all right, it's awesome they coming out with this movie, and this is coming from me. This is just strictly for me. There are a lot of fans who are excited about it. I'm a big skeptic about it. I'm like, I wasn't really, and of course, this is because I watched the first movie many a times, but I wasn't like at all with it. It was a cool movie, but it was just like them. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen a movie, but I haven't found a reason why I wanted to watch the second movie yet, because it's going to have all of the same things that people want. Football with naked guys playing football, like, you know, him flying around, him having fun at the bar where, by the way, if you did go to San Diego Comic-Con, that bar where the bar scene where they film is right up the street from the convention center. I've eaten there before. Like, I think I've eaten there twice. Me and my wife have eaten there twice. Both times that we were at. Oh, actually, no, we eaten there once because the second time it was so crowded that it just took so long, so we decided not to go there. We went somewhere else. But we did go there. We did do it the first time and ate there. It was pretty good. But it's the actual place where they filmed the great bar scene at the original, at the first Top Gun. Now, I think they may have actually went back there again. I'm not sure. But that place has made a lot of money just because of that significance of that place, period. So that was the thing right there. So it's coming out soon. I don't think they really said when it was coming out, but it's coming. I got a feeling it's going to be 2020. So we will see for that. It's going to be very interesting. I'm pretty sure that movie's going to make a ton of cash, regardless of whether I go or not. So My Hero Academia Season 4 also trailer hits, and we knew that was coming October 2019, later this year. They're focusing on who will take over the retired All Might's realm of being the greatest superhero of all time. But we know that's going to be, Deku. So, I mean, it's just going to lead more to that. New villains are going to be coming as well. Somewhat of a new threat coming to this season, as well as new heroes coming as well. So, looking forward to that. Funimation Now will be having it. You could go to that streaming network, $5.99 a month. It's really worth, if you're an anime fan, $5.99 a month. You can't beat that. That's really good. For the huge amount of subtitle and English dub anime that they have in there, $5.99 is a phenomenal price. So you can't go wrong with that. We also have the last thing that we got to cover for this year is, in fact, Jay and Silent Bob's trailer. Now, take note. The thing that I took away from this was who was the one behind the making of this film. This is produced by and created by this is under Saban Films. For those of you who know this or don't know this, Saban Films is Saban Films, the same Saban that came out with the Power Ranger series, the kiddie-ish Power Ranger series. So the fact that they're coming out with this, they're coming out with a Jay and Silent Bob movie, that is saying a lot, because these guys make nothing but, for years, all they made were like Super Sentai dubs of all of the Japan shows, like Power Rangers or Battleborgs or all that stuff. But they were always kind of known as the kiddie, family friendly type one. Now they're coming out with Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Wow. They're turning on a whole new 180 right there. So I am so excited about this, man, because this is going to be this generation's Cheech and Chong, without a doubt. This starts with a SWAT team headed by Darnell Rollins, of all people, if you guys know from the Chappelle Show. But also he's worked with Kevin Smith on a project show. I forgot what it was called. It was really good. They were trying to crowdfund the show. I don't think they managed to get it done, but I liked it. I like what they were doing with it, man. But I'm glad he didn't give up on Darnell Rollins. Darnell Rollins is a phenomenal and funny comedian. He was one of the focal points of the Chappelle Show, man. He stood out. A lot of those guys stood out, but Darnell, some of the stuff he came out with, I think it was not written. He just said out of his mouth. It was hilarious. So Darnell Rollins is forcing Jay and Silent Bob to come out of the old video store that Randall worked at, which is now a chicken store, and they come out and it's all smoked up. It's like, I don't know if they were smoking like a lot of weed in there and they just came out, but it just came out smoked up. Jay and Silent Bob come out with Jay pulling down his pants with his penis tucked in in between them. Like, if you watched the Jay and Silent Bob movie before, you've seen him do that before. Matter of fact, I think it wasn't it Clerks 2 that he did that on, if I'm correct, which he was imitating. I think, what was he imitating? Oh my God. I forgot what movie he was imitating. It's in the tip of my tongue, but he did it again here. And then, the premise of this whole thing was just moving on. The premise of this whole thing is that, sorry about that, the cops was coming by and it was just distracted the hell out of me. But Jay and Silent Bob is looking to stop the reboot of Bloodman and Chronic. And this is basically a play on a lot of different reboots that have come out. So they're playing on that benefit. And this is Kevin Smith. He's a fan just like everybody else. So he actually is coming out with, the idea of doing a reboot, and him and Jay are not liking the idea that they're doing a reboot of a comic book that they created. And there also is a clip with Jason Lee on there returning his role from Chasing Amy, I believe, and him talking about that again. And they did that on the last Jay and Silent Bob movie as well. So I thought that was awesome. The movie has a ton of different actors and actresses on here. Joe Manganiello, Craig Robinson, Jason Lee, as I mentioned, his daughter, Haley Smith, playing Jay's daughter by actress Shannon Elizabeth. If you guys remember during the last Jay and Silent Bob movie, Jason Mewes, or Jay, and Shannon Elizabeth had somewhat of a relationship. I guess they had sex and ended up with, his daughter, which also is named Millennium Falcon. That's what she named him. That's what she named the daughter. So that was pretty much awesome right there. I think that is funny. I actually do. I've seen Haley, Kevin's daughter, play in that awful movie on Netflix. Now, I mentioned this before. We actually reviewed that a while back when it first came out because I was excited about that movie, and because it's Kevin Smith and he usually does them wrong, but he went, I don't know what amount of weed he was smoking when he came out with that movie, because it started off, the first half of that movie started off really, really cool. It looked like it was going to be another one of Kevin Smith's, coming of age type of, stories with involving his daughter and another character. It went total 180, and this whole entire thing with these monster, bratwurst, and it just went crazy. But it took nothing away from what I thought Haley's performance was. I thought Haley did a pretty good job. I thought she's very comfortable with being on camera and doing these lines and everything. I thought she did really good. It was the storytelling that went bad. It had nothing to do with the actors or anything. But and the fact that Kevin Conroy was in it, God, poor Kevin Conroy. So you had that situation as well happen. But she's in there playing the daughter of those two. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck returns. Method and Redman are in this. Frankie Shaw, Jason Biggs, Rosario Dawson makes a return. Jason Vanderbeek is making a return. Brian O'Harlan, who is Dante from Clerks. So Clerks is going to be making a cameo appearance. Supergirls, Melissa Benoist, who we just mentioned. and will be on here as well. She's playing, I think, Blunt Man, or Chronic, or no, she's playing Blunt Man, because Blunt Man this time is a female. And also Chris Helmsworth and many more. I mean, this thing is just going to have a horde of different, characters in here. It's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm all for it. Funny thing is, they're doing a tour right now. They're absolutely doing a tour right now. And they put it out on Facebook that they were doing here in Philly. Man, that thing sold out so quickly because me and my wife were going to go. I always wanted to see Kevin Smith. I missed out so many times to seeing Kevin Smith. And unfortunately, we're going to miss out again because they sold out instantly. I mean, this house, I think this place only holds about 400 seats, 300 or 400 seats almost. And they sold out. They sold out in minutes. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to see another live showing of Kevin Smith again. And I'm just going to have to, hopefully, that we can see him next year or sometime within a year or something like that. Because the dude's awesome. I've always loved his on-stage live showings. He's always said some really fun. For a guy who's not a comedian, he sure is a freaking comedian. Like, he never missed himself to be a comedian, but he's such a funny storyteller. His stuff is hilarious. His true stories are freaking hilarious. And his directing, his writing are awesome. Like, I've probably said this many times, but Clerks helped me get through my life as far as, like, what is that? Like, when I was working retail, after watching Clerks, that was the last retail job I worked because I felt like I could do better. And I kept saying to myself, I can do better. But I never moved. I never pushed. I never went on. Then I see Clerks, and I watched the last scene from Clerks with Randall and Dante fighting, and Randall kept saying, I forgot what he really said, but it was in a sense of, if you don't want to be here, why are you still here? Why aren't you just moving on? Why aren't you doing what you got to do? And they furthered that episode, they furthered that situation with, what was it, with Clerks 2. And at that point, I was like, yo, I need to be out. Now, granted, some things happened that led to me going out. I won't be into discussion. But at that time, I was like, I could definitely do better than this. I'm worth more than this. And it was proven. I ended up started working corporate, which was like a step up from doing that. And then eventually, I'm officially out of corporate and now doing my own thing. Because, again, I can do better. And I am. So, a lot of that, if you want to go back to the roots, Kevin Smith and Clerks was the reason why all this happened. So, one of the big reasons, if not. So, I'm looking forward to that. San Diego Comic-Con this year for me met all expectations. Everything that came out of it, all the things that I heard. Shout out to Andre, Andre Stokes, one of our previous guests. He finally got a chance to go to San Diego Comic-Con, and he got the experience, man. It was awesome. He got the experience. It was well worth it, he said. He actually got into Hall H, too. He waited that line. He waited out that line. He was there at 12 o'clock at night, waiting to get the Marvel badge and all this stuff. Kudos to him because it's hard to go there. If you go there, you can't go anywhere else. So that was all that. It was worth it. And I implore anybody, if you have not gone to San Diego Comic-Con, going to a regular con is one thing, but going to San Diego Comic-Con is a whole nother experience. Now, I haven't been to New York Comic-Con yet, and I heard really great things, but I also heard that from people who've never been to San Diego. So I am going to make it my best to go to New York Comic-Con this year and be able to compare and contrast the two because I've heard so many things about about New York, but I truly believe in my heart of hearts that San Diego Comic-Con is the Mecca of all things A.C.M.G. still. And a lot of it is because of the panels that they get, and it's the one thing that separates from the panels that they have, the exclusives. I think the exclusive more than the panels, because you can have these type of panels anywhere except for the Marvel Studios panels, of course. But you could have these type of panels, but the exclusives that they got in this, and you can't get anywhere else until people start selling them on eBay. And they sell them for high prices. But if you really want some of the best, if you're a collector of any kind, they're the only ones that are doing the exclusives thing. That really separates them from every other, con out there right now. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully going to New York Comic-Con, seeing what they had to offer. I've heard and seen great things, really great things from that con. And plus, I love going to New York. New York is just awesome. So whether they had the same type of experience that they do, because like San Diego still has, they got stuff going on inside and outside of the state of the convention center, which the convention center, by the way, is ginormous. And man, it's just an experience. They closed the entire center city down for this event. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what New York has to offer on that note and seeing what helps. But you know what else I'm looking forward to? This August, we're counting down the days for August 23rd to the 25th as Keystone Comic-Con by Repop, the people who brought you New York Comic-Con, is coming back to Philly for their second sophomore time in the city to give us the best celebration of all things anime, comics, movies, games. And not only that, as you know, Talk Time Live will be there representing all things A.C.M.G. in the form of one of two panels, one being the Overwatch panel, and I still haven't gotten any news yet because they're working heavily on different cons right now, but should be announced pretty soon. As we're going to be doing a Art of Street Fighter panel as well. So Talk Time Live will be hosting two panels. This is a huge honor and a huge deal, and I hope to see all of you there in Philly at the Pennsylvania Convention Center. And we're just gonna have a great time. Sunday, August 25th, will not only be my panels, but it will be a bunch of other panels going on that day as well. So definitely go out of your way. You know, you got Friday and Saturday to go and have all the fun in the con, but Sunday is going to be panel day, and I love the way the setup is with that. So we're going to be enjoying a whole bunch of panels out there. I'm looking forward to it. I got my notes ready. I'm looking forward to seeing Fred Tatasciore, Charlotte Chung, and Jennifer Hale all there, the voices of Overwatch. So I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm already prepped. Trust me, I'm already prepped. I got my gear ready. I got giveaways for everybody who will be attending that. So if you guys seen it on the Keystone Comic-Con page as well as the A.C.M.G Facebook page, I got some giveaways, some really cool design coasters for Talk Time Live with some of your favorite anime, comics, movies, and game characters on there as giveaways as I'm coming along. So get ready. I will be there giving those away as well. So a lot of fun. You know, San Diego Comic-Con is over, but the fun of the summer is far from over. So stay tuned for that and much more. Folks, that will do it for this special edition of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live. Thank you guys so very much. Next week, there's going to be a lot going on this week. I haven't got a chance to see Lion King because of the heat. It's just way too hot. And their schedules, for some reason, they didn't have an early bird special, so I never got a chance to see it. Honestly, I really do think that Lion King got a bad deal. Whoever came up with the release date for Lion King screwed Lion King over. Because it's during the week of San Diego Comic-Con. There's not going to be any focus on it. I'm not digging what they did with that, but that's a whole nother story. But eventually I will try to see it soon. But what I am looking forward to is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The reason why I am going to be reviewing that next week, along with another movie, is because one of our previous and former guest of Talk Time Live is playing a huge, significant role in this movie. That is Mike Moe. If you guys remember, if you go to talktimelivecom/exclusive, you will see that I've interviewed Mike Moe during the time when Street Fighter Assassin's Fist came out, because if you guys remember, he played the role of Ryu. So if you want to check out that interview, you could go there to check it out. I may actually repost it again next week when it comes out. And so to allow people to hear that interview. It was a really good interview. He's a very nice guy. Unfortunately, I know because his stock keeps rising, it's going to be harder for me to ever get a chance to talk with him again. Hopefully, maybe I could get a chance to, interview him again in the near future. But I was very happy and honored that he would give me the time to, talk with him. While he was on a set, at the time he was playing on Empire, and he was playing Ryu on Assassin's Fist. And we talked about him being a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which later on he became Trident on Inhumans later on from there. So it was really cool to have him on. So if you want to get a chance to check him out, go out of your way to check it out there. And next week he's going to be playing Bruce Lee on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I'm really interested. I'm pretty sure, I don't know how big of a part that's going to be, but it's very significant because everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. This could be like one of those roles like The Rock did when he played like the Scorpion King, and he just skyrocketed from there. This could be a big role for him that can possibly take him to far else other places. And if you've seen him in full Bruce Lee gear, he really carries it. And he's a phenomenal martial artist himself. Like, he's legit. He's every bit as legit in this. I mean, if you've seen him on Assassin's Fist, but if you also follow him on Instagram and Facebook, he has his dojo. He has his Mike Mo dojo, or Mo Martial Arts, if you will. And we talk about that on the interview as well. Excuse me. So we talk about that as well. So you could, get all that. Go to talktimelive.com/exclusive, and you'll hear from there as well. But there's another movie that I will be talking about as well, and that is Batman Hush. Got a chance to check that out. It is out, and it's very interesting. So we'll talk about that as well. There's a lot to talk about that movie as it comes out, when I'll review it next week. So we'll be talking about that as well. So stay tuned for that. This week on Select Start, I told you I was going to do it, and it's happening. I've played, completed, and enjoyed Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. We'll talk about the goods, the bads of this game, and overall what I talk about this game. But not only that, there's a classic game that I have also had the chance to play too, which we'll talk about that this week on Select Start as well, because it's going to be very interesting to talk about this classic game, because there's a sequel coming out for it, or a remake coming out for it this week. And we got that plus other news going on in the world of gaming as well. So stay tuned. We'll be back this week in full, and so much more to talk about. By the way, Kill la Kill is out this week on Friday. I'm ready for it, and I'll be reviewing that the week after. So we got enough stuff to talk about down the line. So folks, thank you so very much. Again, follow us on TalkTimeLive.com. You could also check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and possibly soon Spotify. I'm going to be working on that soon, probably after the all of the festivities of Keystone Comic Con and everything. I'll work on getting on there as well, because I had people ask me about that, and now it looks like it's going to be easier for me to get in there as well. So looking very much forward to getting a chance for everybody to listen to this show, especially after the fact of going into the panels too. This is going to be really interesting. Should be a great experience for myself, for the brand itself, and everything. I'm looking very much forward to it. And again, thank you, Reed Pop, for this opportunity. It's awesome. So that'll do it, folks. On behalf of myself, this is Dak Xavier Josiah saying, learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is A.C.M.G. presents Talk Time Live. I am out of here. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys this week on Select Start.